All right,
Hey
guys.
everyone.
Welcome. Good evening.
Uh, yeah, it's very late in the evening now. The final one before. I don't know what you got. What do you usually do in the evening?
You're asking me?
Yeah, well,
Oh, my
everyone.
life,
Will
my
you
life
eat
has been
after
so
this or?
exciting recently. Well, I'm cooking tonight.
Oh yeah. Oh,
That's pretty much about it. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna watch some
are you
TV.
cooking? Are you cooking just for you or for someone
So
else
it's
as
me
well?
and my flatmate. So it's two of us in
Oh,
the house at the moment. Well, there are three of us living here. But one of my flatmates, she went back to her parents' house in Lodi, and so it's just me and my one
ah.
flatmate, and we often cook together. It's easier
Oh,
as
that's
well.
nice.
Yeah. Do you ever cook with you have one flatmate maybe, right?
One flatmate, no, we don't cook together. I wish that we did because he is an amazing, amazing cook, and I am definitely not.
Ah,
So,
really? So it would have been nice if,
yeah,
but hey, because I really like to cook and I am mostly the person always cooking, but I really don't mind because then if I have another person who can help with the dishes, I'm so happy. I can cook every meal if they can help me with the dishes because otherwise you're both cooking and you're both doing dishes, right?
it's true, it's
Yeah.
true. It's nice to
Yeah.
divide the task.
But I know
Okay,
it can be quite tricky if because then it's also like you have to buy the things from the supermarket together, split the cost. So I think it depends on the relationship you have. I mean, I live with a good
mm,
friend of mine, so so then it's easy.
okay. Cool. So we've started off with a bit of a conversation, but we should probably introduce ourselves and everyone watching as well. Please introduce yourself in the comments. Tell us your names. Tell us something about you. Where are you? What's your favorite
Exactly.
color? What's your favorite meal?
Exactly. Yeah, we have Lydia there. I think she's very excited about. So let us know, Lydia, what are you so excited about? We definitely want to know. We need some excitement. Um, so yeah, and tell us also because I don't think I have ever been your teacher, Lydia. So if you could tell me where you come from, okay, that would be very nice.
Mm,
And yeah, I guess we can introduce
exactly.
ourselves too, even though I have done a lot of 2 to 3 focuses. So you probably all know me very well by now. But I'm Thiago. I'm 29. I'm from Brazil originally, but I grew up in California. And I have worked for my English school since 2016.
Okay, great. So my name is Jadene. I'm 25 and I am from London in England. But I moved to Milan. So now I live in Milan. I moved here in October. So only 7 months ago, not so long. And we have Maurizio as well, who
A
says, "Good
legend.
evening,
Love
teachers."
Maurizio.
Oh, I don't think I've met Maurizio before.
Oh, he's
So
great.
for
He
me,
always
it's
makes a
nice to
lot of
meet you.
fantastic jokes. I cannot wait,
Oh,
Maurizio.
I'm excited. So Maurizio from Parma, I'm 67 years old and have recently retired. Nice. Oh, I would
Amazing
love to be
English, too.
retired. My dream.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're basically
grammatically,
retired.
uh, it's true. Maybe not my dream. In my dream, I retire, but there is some sun. Maybe I'm in the Bahamas. I'm not sure.
Yes, I mean, honestly, I'm just so excited to be able to go to the park next week.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but I keep a lot of people are saying the same thing, so I'm a little bit worried what the parks are
Yep.
going to look like. But I do live close to
Immediately closed.
everyone. Yeah, Monday morning, just like everyone there.
A queue for the park. Um, so Maurizio says, I worked as a physiotherapist in the hospital. Amazing. That's a really cool job. Very rewarding.
Exactly. So coolio,
Okay.
guys. So today we are talking about neighborhoods. And actually, JD, now, in fact, as I was writing the title of this, I thought, should I add the U or not add the U? So
You
that
know,
is a little difference we
I
can talk about.
yeah, I almost couldn't find the presentation because I kept looking for neighborhood with a U. So in the UK, we spell the word neighborhood with a U, and in American English, exactly like Thiago has written, they spell it without the U. But the pronunciation is exactly the same.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
what is a neighborhood, Thiago?
Yeah, so the neighborhood is basically it's a division of the city. So it's the area in the city. We also can use the word area in English. We don't normally use the word zone because I know in Italian it's very common to say zone. We could, but at least for me, I tend to say area. But an area is a bigger
Mm,
part. Sometimes in an area you have different neighborhoods, so it's a little bit smaller. I mean, there's no definition of how many kilometers makes a neighborhood, but it's a distinct division of a city, so a neighborhood. See, I live
mm,
in Crescenzago in Milan. That's a neighborhood. Brera is a neighborhood, so it's an area of the city.
exactly, perfect. Um, so did you, sorry, I'm tired. Did you read this slide, Thiago?
No, I did not. Yes, I can read it.
Okay, then will
Uh,
you read the slide?
Of course I can. So in this focus activity, we're talking about vocabulary to talk about neighborhoods. We're talking about there is, there are, to talk about things that we have in neighborhoods, and also adverbs of frequency. So to say how often we do something.
Exactly. So to begin, it says, answer these questions. So I'm going to read them out, and I'd like Thiago to be my model student and to answer them. But also, we really, really want you guys to answer these questions in the
Mhm.
comments yourselves. So I'll just get them
Exactly.
all up so you can see. So Lydia says, sorry, I was so excited. We're excited to have you.
Yeah, bring
Just
on
be
the
careful.
enthusiasm.
Be careful about your spelling. So excited, we spell with a C as well. You have written exited, which means to have left a place. So I exited my home to go to the park. So excited with a C. Okay.
Exactly.
So question one, everybody, and Thiago, where do you live?
So I live in Milan currently. Specifically, I guess that's question number two. So I live in Milan. And what about you, Jadine? Where do you live?
Okay. Yes, I also live in Milan. And we have Lydia, who lives in Napoli. Lovely. Of course, in English, we say Naples, but it's fine.
Mhm.
Um, Wonderful. And of course, we know from before that Maurizio, he said he's from Parma. I
Mhm.
don't know if he still lives in Parma. So where you live is where you live right now. So in this moment, where is your home? Okay, and question two, what neighborhood do you live in?
Mm-hmm. So I live in a neighborhood in Milan called Crescenzago. It's on the green metro line. It's a little bit outside the city. In the past, Crescenzago was a separate town. And then recently, over the years, it was integrated into the city. So it feels like a small town, but it's actually part of Milan. And you, Jadine, where do you live
Nice.
in Milan?
I live in Porto Venezia. Well,
Ah,
actually, it's
wow,
not
that's
true.
amazing.
I live very near Porto Venezia. Yes,
Where? Which
yes,
part?
I really like it. Um, don't remember. Laz Lazaro, is that a place? Lazaro.
Well, I'm trying to think. Because I used to, before I lived near Porta Venezia, it was more close to Città Studi, but it was like in that area. So it's, but Lazzaro. Loreto?
Ah, Lazaretto, I
No,
think.
Loreto maybe.
Yes.
Ah, I see. So more towards Loreto. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I lived sort of in the area before. Very nice place to live. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, guys, what neighborhood do you live in? Okay, and then question three, is your neighborhood big or small?
Yeah. So, I don't know actually if it's big or. I mean, I have never seen the kind of the border where the neighborhood ends. So I don't know if it's big or
I
small, but it's
I guess it's your opinion.
yeah. I mean it see it depends where you are. Some streets you get the feeling of a small town, as I said before. Uh, there's like the because before when it was a separate town you had like the church of the town with the post office and the main square, but then also you can see Via Padova, which is a very large, very long street in Milan with a lot of shops, a lot of people. And so that feels more like a city. So it feels like a bigger place. So it depends on where you are. It changes a lot from one street to the next.
Okay, so Maurizio says the neighborhood where I live is big because there is a hospital and a university. So this is a very common or very easy mistake to make. Excellent, Maurizio, and very clear. But with the word hospital and the word university, we would use the article a, and that's because you're listening for the sound that comes after the article.
Mhm.
So, hospital starts with an H, so this is not a vowel sound, which is why we use a. And university starts with a vowel, a U, but the sound is more like a Y. So, university, exactly as Thiago has put. So, for both cases, we would say a. But really, really nice.
Oh, Lydia, that is wonderful. Gosh, I wish I had that. Says, I live in a beautiful place. We just put the article there. I live in a beautiful place near the sea, and I can see it from my windows, from my window. But windows is okay, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe from many windows she
Mm.
can see
That's oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm like so used to just having small houses. Yeah,
just one just
just the
one
one.
window per person. But no, lovely. No problem, Maurizio. Okay. So then question four. Do you like your neighborhood?
I honestly, I do like my neighborhood. even though it has a bad reputation in Milan. A lot of the times when I tell people that I live in Crescenzago, it's always a bit of a because people the Via Padova I was telling you about it. It's I don't know. It has a reputation of having a lot of crime, etc. I have never seen anything bad. I
Mm.
mean, it is an area with a lot of immigrants, but you know what I mean? I don't know if that's the association that some people make, but I have
I
never
hope
felt
not. I love
unsafe.
immigrants.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. You know, for example, if I want to cook something, I mean, it's so easy to find all the ingredients I need. There are lots of small shops, especially during this quarantine. You know, going to the supermarket, you have this very long line, or I can go to the little shops. It's nice. I can support small businesses and also don't have to wait. I love this area
Mm.
personally, and I like how it's a little more quiet because we work in the center. So after work, it's nice to come to a place that is a bit more relaxed.
Mm.
And for you, Jadine, do you like your neighbors? And first of all, maybe we can talk the difference between neighborhood and neighbor.
Sure. So the neighborhood is the area you live in, and the neighbors are the people who live near you. So usually your neighbor isn't someone who lives in your neighborhood, it's the people who live directly either next to you. If you live in an apartment, the people who live on your floor, or maybe in your building. And if you don't, then it can also be the people who live on your street. But we wouldn't call everybody in your neighborhood your neighbor.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I know that during this quarantine, maybe you didn't have so much of an opportunity to meet your neighbors. But how do you feel
No.
about them? Do you like them? Have you ever seen them?
I've seen some neighbors when I have been bringing my rubbish or my trash to the bin. Um, they all say hello. There are lots of flowers as well and plants in my building, which I love. Um, so yeah, everyone seems to garden on my floor.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Let's see. Maurizio has a comment there for us. He says, I like my neighborhood because there are also many green spaces for walking or stopping to read a book.
Mm. Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Yes, I do. I always prefer neighborhoods or areas that are more green. So with lots of parks or, yeah, just near nature, which
Yeah.
you can't really get in the city, but you can try. Um, and Lydia, okay. People in Napoli are sometimes impolite. This is an excellent, excellent word. Impolite is a synonym for rude or maybe
Mhm.
disrespectful, someone who doesn't say thank you when you hold the door, for example, um, and very loud. So my neighbors are not so good, but in this period they sing and dance all day. Oh, so that's quite
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Yes,
very good. And just be careful there, Lydia. Very good comments, by the way. It's a very impolite. Yeah,
wonderful.
and exactly. Just like Jadine said there. Small spelling error here with neighbor. So, okay, so we put the GH there. But excellent.
Mm.
Yeah, both you guys are doing a fantastic job with these comments.
Yeah, amazing. Um, And so finally, question 5, do you like your neighbors? Which Lydia answered for us. Oh, I didn't ask this, did I? You asked this.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, going a bit crazy. Um, but yeah, do you like your neighbors, Thiago?
So I don't know them very well. I live in a very small building. I think there are only 6 apartments in total, very, very small. Uh, so the people next to me, I just never ever see them, like ever. And then there's a lady in front of us, and she's nice. I mean, I like her. I never really talked to her very much. It's something I noticed, generally speaking, in Milan compared to other cities that I lived here in Italy. The neighbors don't seem to be so open to talking to each other, or I mean, they say hello, they're polite,
Oh,
but
really?
in other cities, yeah, there was a stronger bond. People inviting people for coffee, or I don't know, but at least
Oh,
I don't
see,
see that so much here.
I've only lived in Milan in Italy, and compared to people from London, who are famously very polite but not very friendly,
Hmm.
um, yeah, everyone in Milan, I think, is very, very friendly.
Yeah, I mean, they're yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to compare. I can see, I mean, I compare it maybe a lot also with the US, where I think people are like almost sometimes they be kind of fake friendly, but people are very friendly. So that whole idea of, people welcoming you to the neighborhood, bringing you like something they made, like a
Ah,
pie, like that
oh, so
is like
nice.
very much real in the States.
Wow.
But I think, part of this is also the difference of the spaces in which we live, because in Europe, and especially in cities, we're very close to one another always. We go outside, we tend to live in apartments. And so I think people, they appreciate also some of the quiet time and that their privacy.
Mm,
Whereas in the US, we have
mm,
so much space, and even our houses are so big that we want social interaction. And I think that's why people say hello to each other walking down the street, which is a bit
sure.
bizarre, I think, for an Italian, for example, because it's just you say hello to people you don't just say hello to everybody. But for us, yeah, it's quite common. Just wave hello or.
Okay. Cool. So, oh no, moving on then. And I've given one away.
Mhm.
um, so we have some pictures of places that maybe you have in your neighborhood. So Maurizio already told us in his neighborhood there is a hospital and there was something else as well, which I can't remember.
It's at a university, I think,
Um,
right?
oh, a hospital,
A hospital and
yes, and a
university. Yeah,
university,
I
exactly.
think exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So, Lydia, that's fine. You go wild. She's just going for a bathroom break. Um, so in the meantime, while we wait for Lydia to return, we've got some vocabulary on the left of the screen, which Thiago will read out for us, and you can hear the pronunciation, and then try
Sure.
to match the vocabulary to these pictures. And I'll just make the screen a bit bigger for everyone
Mhm.
to see.
Great. So
Maybe.
we have the library, the post office, the dog park, the pharmacy, the hair salon, the church, and the school.
Okay, lovely. So maybe while we wait for you to match the words to the pictures, um, Chago, tell me, are any of these things in your neighborhood?
Yes. So in my neighborhood, we have a post office, we have a pharmacy. Actually, we have, I think, everything. Maybe not a school. I don't know any schools in my area. Uh, I know there is a library, but I don't know where it is. But I know there is one called Christian Sago Library. But yes, I think everything except for school.
Okay, excellent. And just one comment about Lydia's comment because I didn't read it properly at the first time. She said I go in bathroom, but remember everyone, when we use the verb go, and we're talking about moving from one place and finishing in another place, we always, always, always use the preposition to. So I go to the bathroom,
Yes,
or
that
as
movement.
well, maybe in the future I will go.
Yeah, and the good thing
Exactly.
for the Italian speakers, I think all you guys are from Italy, is that in English it's always to. Okay, so if you're using go, go to, go
Mm.
to, go to, because in Italian it changes depending on the place that you go, and so in English it's
Ah,
actually simpler. It's always go to because we focus on the movement, as Jadine said.
exactly. Exactly. And Maurizio, wow, is on fire. Oh,
I told you, Maurito's
fantastic.
great.
Amazing. I love it. Okay. So we're getting some comments in. Maurizio, Wadana Hamid as well. So A is a library.
Mhm.
So just a quick distinction. A library is not a place where you buy books. So we buy books in a bookshop, or if you're American or you're using American English, you can say a bookstore.
Mhm.
But a library is where we go to borrow books. So we take books, but we give them back. Okay. And then exactly. So both of you guys as well got that correct. So picture B
Mhm.
is a church. Excellent. Sometimes we have very, very big or very, very fancy, I guess, churches. Oh, Maurizio has done the translation for library exactly. The
Perfect.
library is a biblioteca. Um, so sometimes a very big church is called a cathedral. For example, in Milan, we have Duomo. And then C, we have the post office. So actually what you can see in the picture is what we would call a post box. So this is where you put the letters in, and a mailman or mailwoman will come and collect the letters and deliver them. A post office is when you go into the building. Okay, Thiago, would you like to do the next few?
Sure. Of
Oh
course.
no. Wow. Wow.
So
Fantastic.
I think yeah, Ahmed, very good. G is the
Excellent
pharmacy.
response.
Or we go
So
from
you've got
neighborhood.
pictures of some pills here.
Exactly. We've got simple. So the pharmacy, and also here, guys, the word for pharmacy, it's pretty generic, and it works. It always works in every country, but just keep in mind that there's some variations as well. For example, in the U.S., it's common to say drugstore, to go to the drugstore.
Mm.
And Regine, would you say, is it the chemist, right? That you guys also say,
Yes.
go to the chemist or
Yes.
something like that.
Yeah. That's the chemist or the pharmacy. I'm trying to think if there's a distinction between the two. But I can't really think that there is.
Exactly. Right there. You guys can see it. Then we have E as well. Perfect, Ahmed. We have a school.
Perfect.
It's like an elementary school. We have F as well. Yep. Dog park. And then the hair salon. Cool.
Exactly. So we could call G, I think, the hair salon, or maybe we'd say hairdressers as well. I would be more likely to say hairdressers. Salon is very
Yeah, salon is like very
very
fancy.
fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, the hairdresser or even the barber. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, for a man, it's always a barber.
Yeah.
For male specific. That's the hairdressers, barbers, hair salon. Okay, so if you guys have any questions about this vocabulary, tell us in the comments. If not, tell us which of these things you have in your neighborhood.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing we can talk about. I think it might be what we're going to focus on next. CJ, Dean asked you guys a question. The things that they're, no, it's how often first. Okay. But we do use, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute, which is,
Do you want me? If you want, I can go forward
shall
and
we?
we can
Because
come back to how
then we can
often.
come back to this. Yeah, 'cause then it's more directly
Yeah.
related to the vocab. Perfect. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
So
question
what is that?
Jadene asked you guys. So, what is there in your neighborhood? And so we use this when we talk about things, right? So there is something we use for singular things. So, for example, in my neighborhood, there is a big park. There's only one big park. If it's plural, I use there are, and then don't forget the S after. So there are many small shops, for example. So there are.
Right. So here we have just some more examples to help clarify this or to help explain it a bit better. So the first sentence, as Thiago said, is for a singular thing. In this neighborhood, there is a school. So there is only one school. Number two, in this neighborhood, there are two dog parks. So if there is any number more than one, we use there are. And in number three, in this neighborhood, there are lots of restaurants. So this is where there are many things, and maybe you have not counted them or you don't want to count them.
Mhm.
In my neighborhood, there are lots of coffee shops. I don't know how many, but I know there are a lot. So using this language, guys, tell us what is there in your neighborhood.
Exactly. And then in the meantime, Mauricio has a question for us. So is the hair salon, and here, careful, there are only one O, specific for animals. So actually, no, hair salon is for people. For animals, I guess I would call it like a grooming salon or like a pet grooming salon, something like that. Pet groomers. So no, hair salon, it's for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, so JD, you
Nice.
live in an area of Milan with a lot of different things, even though again you probably haven't been able to experience them yet. But so what are some of the things that there are in your neighborhood?
Um, I don't know. So in my neighborhood, I'm sure there are churches. I have seen more than one church in my neighborhood. Um, there is also a pharmacy and a post office.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't think there are any libraries, hair salons, dog parks, or schools. So if you don't have any, we can say the negative. So there isn't a dog park or there isn't a library.
Hmm. Perfect.
Okay, so please tell us, guys. We want to know, what do you have? And I'm not sure if there's a way for me to make my screen um even bigger, but I can't.
I won't go like
There's
full screen, huh?
No, well, I've got full screen, but it's coming out on this screen as like a strange rectangle, instead of a square. So I'm not sure why. Ah, so Lydia says, in my neighborhood, there are pizzerias. Oh my God, I can imagine.
In
So we can
Naples, yeah.
say, yeah, remember, in English we put the adjective before the noun. So the noun is pizzeria and the adjective is amazing. So we can say, in my neighborhood, there are amazing pizzerias. And we don't need so amazing because amazing is already a really strong adjective. And usually we use so to help strengthen something, to say something is so blah blah. And Maurizio tells us it wasn't his fault. It was
Ah,
the keyboard,
it was a
the no
typo,
saloon.
a typing mistake.
Maurizio, is that you in your picture? Because you look very cool. I love the glasses. Okay. Um, so just while we wait for your answers, we can move on a bit as well to the next slide. So it's giving you a bit of a task, which you can do if you want to. But if not, this is just also highlighting the negative, as I mentioned a bit before. Thiago, would you mind reading the slide?
Sure, of course. So prepare for a meeting with the mayor. Tell the mayor what is and isn't in your neighborhood. So the mayor is the elected official who is responsible for the city, basically, a city or a town, as you can see in the picture there. So, for example, you could tell your mayor, in my neighborhood, there is a dog park, but there isn't a school. Or in my neighborhood, there are 3 supermarkets, but there aren't any libraries. And so they're also introducing here the negative, which we haven't really talked about. And so, of course, we can say there are, if we're talking about so in an affirmative sense. And usually we say there isn't a or there aren't any for using it in the negative sense. Yeah. Okay, so I mean,
Exactly.
this is quite similar to what you're already doing before. So, don't delete what you're writing. You just keep going. It's most important that you just practice with these new expressions. So try to also incorporate some negatives just to see how you're doing.
Yes, but just keep in mind that is and are still used for singular and plural. So when you're speaking in the negative, we still use there isn't a and a singular noun, or we use there aren't any and a plural noun. So that does not change in the negative. So as I mentioned, I don't think there are. So there aren't any libraries in my area.
Yeah, if I think of my neighborhood, if there's anything missing here. No, because it's got pretty much everything. There are 2 pretty big supermarkets as well, which is quite nice. Um, Even transportation wise, we have everything. Maybe there aren't so many restaurants. That is one thing sometimes. Well, I mean, obviously now we cannot go out to eat, but in the past as
Mm.
well, I would often go to another neighborhood if I wanted to go to a restaurant because there aren't so many in this area. It's mostly shops.
Okay. Oh, and that's another point actually. So a shop can really be used to describe any place where you can buy something. Um, for example, this can be food, this can be clothes. You do have some specific names for shops like pizzeria or bakery, but you can still call these places a shop. So I'm going to the pizza shop. I'm going to the shop for bread. Um, okay, so in case you guys are writing, please keep going. But because we're wary of the time, we're just going to go back now and have a look at that slide we
Hmm.
went past before. So, how often? So remember, this is about frequency. How often is what we use to describe how many times you do something in a period of time. Oh, and Maurizio has a lovely, lovely comment for us. So, in my neighborhood, there are many supermarkets, some ice cream parlors. Ooh, sounds great. And a few of the best restaurants in Parma. Well, it sounds like we should go there,
Yeah,
Thiago.
great word too. Ice cream parlor. That's
Oh,
fantastic.
I love it. Yes. And we also have Betty. Hi. So she says, I'm late. Sorry.
Nice.
No problem.
Very good participation.
In
Good
my,
example.
yeah, in my neighborhood, there are a lot of parks. So remember, there are and then plural. So there are a lot of parks for all people with big trees and birds. It's very beautiful. Yeah, it sounds lovely. Really nice. And Lydia as well on behalf of everyone. No problem. Everyone is welcome. Okay. Um, so as I was just saying before, we use how often when we're talking about frequency. So how many times you do something in a period of time. And there are some phrases on the screen used to describe how often we do things. So Thiago, would you like to read the phrases?
Sure, of course. We have never, always, every day, once a week, twice a month.
Okay. So what is different about these phrases? So yes, what can we say about these different phrases? Because they all mean slightly different things, and Thiago amazingly is putting in some other details in the comments. So we can use the phrase once a or twice a with any different time period. So it can be a day, a month, a week, a year. And it just means within this period, so day, month, etc., you do this thing one time or two times or three.
That's right. So obviously, during this period, we have a pretty standard routine. It's very repetitive. But you can also think of, before this lockdown, some of the habits that you had around your neighborhood. For example, so before the quarantine, I don't worry about. I'm using the past, but don't worry about it. Okay, I went to the supermarket 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, because
Whoa.
yeah, because I would buy small amounts based on the recipe that I wanted to make. So I would go very often, but now I go once a week to avoid going so many times.
Okay. Perfect. And then the last three phrases we have is never, which means not even one time. Okay, so 0 times never. Always, which means you do this every time you can, all the time. And of course, every day is the same as saying 1 time a day. So we have some example sentences here. Again, using the vocabulary we already looked at. So, number one, I never go to the dog park, so 0 times. I go to the cinema once a month, and I go to school every day. And remember what we said before, we always use the preposition to after the word go when we're talking about movement. And there is also a question for you. So if you'd like in the comments, I know we're almost out of time, but tell us how often do you go to and then a place. So Maurizio says twice a week I go to the supermarket with my wife, but not now.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. And almost perfect, Lydia. So I always see the lessons here, but I never write, only today. Well, we're glad that you did.
Yes, of course. You started so enthusiastically today too. Always
Yeah,
right, because it's good, Lydia, because we
definitely.
can give you specific corrections as well. So yeah, definitely write to us always. Perfect.
Yeah, it's so perfect. Um, so then, just before we leave, I'm going to do a really quick summary. Um, I'm sorry, excuse my spelling. So see, of what we've done today, and you have all been amazing. So at the beginning of the lesson, we talked about our different neighborhoods. So where we lived, what our areas are like, and also we spoke about the difference between neighborhood, the area, and neighbors, so the people that live near you. We also looked at some different vocabulary for things you might find in your area. And we've looked at different time phrases for frequency. So never, 0 times, always, every time you can. And Thiago told us as well, you can say once, twice, or 3 times with day, week, month, year, or any other period of time. And
Exactly.
finally, we looked at the differences between saying there is for a positive sentence about a singular noun, there are for a positive sentence about a plural noun, and there isn't or there aren't any when we are using negatives. Is there anything else you want to mention, Thiago?
Well, I think that's it. Just really wanted to thank you guys for the really good examples. They were honestly quite advanced. They even felt more advanced than this level. So
Yeah,
really good job. Really good contributions. So yeah, just keep practicing like this too. Remember, you can do this also alone at the house. You can just think about your neighborhood, your city, anything, and just describe things. And you can speak if you want, or even just thinking about it. So in my neighborhood, there is, there are. In my hometown, there is, there are. So yeah, just practice this a little bit. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye,
Bye.
guys. Bye, Jadine.
Bye, Thiago.